INM is also one of a number of companies which have recently had to complete tough negotiations with staff to reduce a pension deficit alongside the ongoing issues at Aer Lingus and the recently resolved dispute at ESB. Pension problems have been a dominant theme in corporate Ireland of late. Well, to look at some of the implications, we're joined in studio by Samantha McConnell, Chief Investment Officer with IFG Corporate Pensions. Samantha, as I mentioned there, this has been something of a theme. Are we any closer to seeing the issues that have dogged defined benefit pension schemes in particular, seeing them resolved?
Well, I think so, Conor. To be honest with you, up till June of this year was when a lot of companies had to address the issues. They were forced under the funding standard to complete negotiations with unions and staff to put in a sort of a long-term funding proposal into the Pensions Board. And if we look at what has actually happened, over 500 schemes have actually wound up since 2008, which shows clear evidence of what companies are doing to eliminate pension liabilities where they can. Now, if they can't do that, other things that they're looking at doing is shutting the scheme to new entrants. Only 11% of schemes now remain open to new entrants. They're also shutting to future accrual and moving staff to defined contribution for future service. And finally, they're also looking to reduce past benefits. And this has been, if you like, the most contentious issue, is where they're forcing active members still working for the company, or indeed who would still be working elsewhere in industry, to take a lot of the pain. And typically you'll have seen forcing them to take cash at the point of retirement, reducing the accrual rate, or indeed in some instances pushing out the retirement age. And the most popular way of tackling that issue was to reduce what we call pension increases. So reducing the amount that you get in retirement, by, usually by the amount of inflation.
You heard Eamon Gilmore there and IBEC before that talking up the prospects for stronger than expected growth next year. If we do see a surge in economic growth, would that in a way help resolve a lot of these issues?
I think anything can help, but I think the big issue here is that many schemes were already in trouble even before we entered into this recent economic crisis due to the market turmoil back in the early noughties. And I think that, combined with this current crisis, has caused a tsunami within pension schemes where employers can physically no longer afford to make good the deficits. I think ultimately what will benefit pension schemes, bond yields increasing is going to have a significant impact. And I think the long-term yields, if they can start to tick up even more, that will have a significant benefit for many pension schemes. And ultimately pension schemes are quite simple. You either need your investments to perform or you need contributions. And if you don't have one, you need the other to perform. So anything we can get in terms of either market performance or bond returns means that the employer won't have to put in as much.
To strike that balance. Samantha McConnell, thanks very much for coming into us this morning.